Hi everyone, I'm Nice Loh, a product manager with Teams Engineering. Welcome to Build 2024 and our session, Revolutionize Manufacturing with Microsoft Copilot, Custom Copilots, and Microsoft Teams. I'm super excited to have Johnson Controls Inc. and Textron Aviation join me today to talk about how Microsoft Copilot, Custom Copilots, and Teams are changing the manufacturing landscape. I'm going to introduce my partner in crime, Christian Burke, over in sunny Florida, where he's chatting with Johnson Controls about their solution, engineering results. Hey, Christian, over to you.
All right. Hi, thank you very much. Johnson Controls is a world leader in smart buildings, creating safe, healthy, and sustainable spaces. They're also a manufacturer of products and solutions for buildings, spanning smart controls, heating and cooling systems, fire safety, and more. They're probably in every building you've been in. They're synonymous throughout the world. That said, we have Mr. 𝗦𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗶cie and also Chris Felple joining us today. And Eunice, over to you.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for joining us. Could you please introduce yourself and your team?
Yes, thank you, Eunice. I'm 𝗦𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗶ie, Executive Director of IT for Global Products within Johnson Controls, and I lead our S&OP transformation and advanced analytics initiatives. I've been with Johnson Controls for 25 years, serving in many different engineering, business, and technology roles with a history of targeting new and innovative solutions to emerging technical challenges. Our group is comprised of a rapid innovation team that approaches complex business processes cross-functionally by accessing talent inside and outside of Johnson Controls. Christopher Felple here with us in this segment is our primary architect. 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗻𝗂 assists with our UX and structure. 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗃 adds connectivity to our AI data capabilities, and I bring the business context and vision. Together, we have partnered with Microsoft to co-develop a Copilot-enabled engineering results plugin we're discussing with you here today.
Thank you for the amazing partnership. I'm going to start with a bit of a leading question. A few months ago, when this team, started this journey, the team had this light bulb moment when we were able to search the catalog from Copilot from Microsoft 365. Can you tell us what was so transformational from what folks were doing before?
Well, that's a great question, because our original idea was to unlock the catalog features of our product offering in a more meaningful way by reducing the number of clicks and time required to find product information. But we had an incredible aha moment whenever we realized that we were now unlocking a new vector to completely unlock our user-created sales and technical data in ways that we had never envisioned. Product data will take years to augment fully for natural language usage across our vast product offering and the ranges of trades and engineering domains that we serve. But we could unlock new insights today and redirect our users to additional resources that could help them gain knowledge and win jobs now.
That's pretty impressive. And could I ask, what does the solution look like now?
Watch as the user effortlessly commands the M365 Copilot extension to search through Johnson Controls' extensive product catalog for a rare bronze valve. Leveraging natural language processing, the Copilot extension swiftly navigates through multiple back-end data warehouses, each housing tens of thousands of parts and products to pinpoint the exact items needed. Once the desired product is located using Copilot, the user then seamlessly utilizes the same extension to share product details with a colleague on Teams and access the linked information for further review.
What made sense about using Copilot and AI to solve this problem?
Well, we use Teams day in and day out at Johnson Controls to meet, problem solve, and collaborate within our organization with many systems loosely connected via SharePoint and our Azure configuration tools. Copilot adds a level of capability and flexibility that we didn't realize had been capped by traditional search-based design and criteria. The engineering results plugin is our first push to tie all of those systems together.
What about Teams? Why did it make sense to bring this to Teams?
Our internal direct sales team is already using Teams and SharePoint to generate proposals and email links to customers all day. Teams adds that additional layer where you can extend that collaboration with history and shared context that is missing from email. Long term, we could use it as a hub for how these sales teams transform from a fire and forget communication into a connected community.
What is the one thing that really resonated with you?
The power of what Copilot adds to teams and the passion our Microsoft team has in our shared success has really fueled this effort. We're a very small team, yet we're accomplishing a lot.
That's just amazing to hear. Do you have any plans to bring more data sources in?
Absolutely. We've already worked on a Snowflake-hosted ERP data set, SharePoint repositories tapping directly into our knowledge exchange platforms and expanding into our other emerging technologies that are generative AI enabled.
There are actually two different types of integration in this solution, a Copilot plugin and a handoff to the Johnson Controls custom Copilot. Can you tell us about the custom Copilot that you're calling Genie AI?
Well, as Christopher demonstrated, self-help and a handoff to a trusted advisor has been a focus of Johnson Controls. Not only are we exploring the live handoff to those technical teams, but we're also trying to make the data that is already in our Genie AI tool more detailed and more interactive. But it's loaded with competitive comparison data that we have been gathering to help our sales teams compete with our most current insights.
This next question is for Chris. As a developer, what was the development journey like? Any favorite tools or tips you'd like to share with the audience?
The development journey for us was very straightforward. Since we're already at Microsoft Shop, we already had access to the Microsoft development tools and technologies such as Visual Studio and Azure. So it was a natural fit for us developing our Microsoft Teams extensions.
What are your expectations in terms of productivity gains or other benefits deriving from the solution?
The unlocking of product information was interesting, and it would have saved a lot of time waiting on our traditional click-throughs via our partner portal. But the real game changer could be in the insights gained from comparing configurations of equipment, sales data, and we're just starting to tap into that space. But our product business users are excited about what they can see.
Would you mind telling us a bit about the architecture?
Sure. Our solution, built on top of Microsoft Azure and connected to our in-house data, encompasses three major aspects. First, and most prominent to our users, is the Teams extension. User requests through the extensions are coordinated through an Azure bot service, which in turn connects to our search and action API services and backend data warehouses.
How long did it take for MVP?
All told, this has been a 6-month process, but there have been other time commitments and side initiatives that have occurred in that time. If we were 100% dedicated to these outcomes, and if we didn't have internal constraints within our corporate tenants and the capabilities were fully baked, we could have done this much quicker, but we also wouldn't have had so much collaborative co-development time with the Microsoft team.
Did you feel you were moving quickly? What helped accelerate the process?
We've been moving very fast for Johnson Controls, but also on the bleeding edge of what's currently publicly available capability-wise. I don't know if we could have gone faster given that where we are as an organization and the continued developments with Microsoft.
How did you select the architecture or the MVP to keep this grounded in a valuable, feasible use case?
We conducted a series of proofs of concepts to validate our assumptions and ensure its technical feasibility. Initially, we based the POCs on sample projects, documentation, and engaged with the team's extension development communities. These POCs were instrumental in determining our next steps and refining our solution and its future design roadmap.
What advice would you give the audience for finding the right APIs and data sets to bring the Copilot in Teams?
When advising on finding the right APIs and data sets for Copilot in Teams, it's essential to first understand the user's needs and how your data can fulfill these. Then, after you have a good understanding of these needs and requirements, you can connect with the GitHub support communities, starter code, and documentation. We found these to be valuable resources in linking us to our data and APIs effectively, ensuring it's both relevant and meaningful.
What's next? How do you see this solution evolving?
I'd like to see how far we could get and we can take these capabilities. We're at a point of releasing this for internal usage, but I think we could eventually roll this out all the way to our direct and indirect sellers. I can't imagine what they would come up with once they start truly embracing Copilot and gain capabilities in effective prompt generation. Game changer is the way that I describe the potential here. Thank you so much for the collaboration and the tenacity to help us evolve this direction from our original use case.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm so grateful to have been a part of this project and that I got the opportunity to support you. Thank you so much, Mike, Chris, for joining us here today, and we'll be in touch soon.
And thank you as well, Mike and Chris, for your time and for the partnership we've had over the last several months. All right. I would like to introduce our next customer and partner in our AI journey at Microsoft, Textron Aviation. They've been inspiring the journey of flight for more than 95 years, producing over half of all the general aviation products flying today. As the home to iconic brands like Beechcraft, Cessna, and Hawker, the company designs, builds, and delivers the best aviation experience for customers in more than 170 countries. Textron Aviation is the third largest jet manufacturer in the world and features the most versatile product lineup in the industry. With a solution for every mission, the company produces retail and special missions, business jets, turboprops, and high-performance pistons, military trainers, and defense aircraft. Headquartered in Wichita, Kansas, Textron Aviation is renowned for aircraft that provide legendary performance, reliability, and versatility, along with having a trusted global customer service network supporting affordable, productive, and flexible flight. The company is a subsidiary of Textron, whose lineup of powerful brands also include Bell, Pipistrel, Jacobson, Kautex, Lycoming, E-Z-GO, Arctic Cat, and Textron Systems. And that is Textron Systems. And thanks back to you, Eunice.
Hello, Meech and Josh. How are you?
Hello, doing really well, Eunice.
Doing great, Eunice.
Thanks for joining us today. Could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Josh Rayburn. I'm the Director of Generative AI, Data and Analytics here at Textron Aviation.
And I'm Demetrius Jones, Manager of Data Engineering and AI here at Textron Aviation.
So we'll jump right in. I love that your solution's named Tammy. What does it stand for?
So Tammy actually stands for Textron Aviation Maintenance Intelligence.
Nice. And what was the problem you were trying to solve with Tammy?
So we were trying to maximize the time that our service technicians spend on the aircraft and minimize the time that they spend switching between systems, searching for information, and just trying to find if we've ever done this before or how do we go do something. So the idea was, how do we streamline their access to information and give them a nice tool that will summarize and give them guidance on where they need to look to find the information they need.
It sounds complicated. What was the process like before you started with Tammy?
Yeah, so you can imagine a customer coming in with their aircraft and we have this problem that maybe we've only solved a handful of times coming through the door. So finding that information and all the different systems that we use, looking through the manuals, which are thousands and thousands of pages of instructions to try to figure out how to go solve a problem is really time consuming, and finding the right people. So you got to go ask people for information. This person's the expert of that system, so they know it better than somebody else. And so it was very time consuming whenever we had to try to solve these problems. And so Tammy was the answer to that. So it not only speeds up the resolution, but it also provides direct access to detailed information, including our 2D and 3D drawings or renderings of those aircraft components.
That's pretty cool. By any chance, could we get a demo of what that looks like?
Absolutely. So let's see it in action. So on the screen, you'll notice Meech is exploring Tammy via our Teams touchpoint for the very first time. So to harness Tammy's full potential, Meech inputs specific model that he's working on. While Tammy offers more than just manual interactions, we'll focus on that feature for now. And so with the chat options configured, Meech begins his interactive session. So let's observe as he asks for a procedure to remove the main landing gear actuator on a CJ3. And there you have it. Meech instantly receives the steps for the task, complete with the list of citations pinpointing the exact locations in our manuals where the information was sourced. But we don't stop there, right? Our technicians are committed to delivering top-notch service, so Meech can cross-reference Tammy's responses with the actual manual using our OneView application, which is our interactive manual viewer. Following the manual citations, Meech delves deeper into the manual for further insights, ensuring Tammy's guidance is spot on. So what you've just witnessed is the streamlined process for our technicians now to employ continuing excellent service to our customers. We're minimizing time spent juggling tools, looking for information, and searching for the right people to talk to, and maximizing hands-on time with the aircraft.
Somewhere in there is a joke about citations for citations. How do you see this change benefiting Textron Aviation?
From a people perspective, we're empowering our team to express their ideas and problems in natural language, enabling them to articulate their complete thoughts. The approach facilitates a deeper understanding and also accelerates access to the manual for precise step-by-step guidance. We're optimistic that in the long run, this will speed up the onboarding process for new team members, thereby boosting efficiency in our service centers.
Wow. Can you tell me a little bit about how the exploration started? Why AI and why teams?
Yeah, so it was June of last year, 2023. We were at our IT leadership meeting, and Microsoft was there to present on generative AI. So right before that session, a small group of Textron leaders and the Microsoft team were holed up in a conference room, and we were talking about what generative AI could do for us as a business, not just Textron Aviation, but the bigger Textron as well. And so with that, we began forming ideas around what would be a good application for generative AI to either prove or disprove the value, right? And so we found that generative AI provided capability that was far beyond our traditional experiences, making it a great solution for our customer service team. So the ability to interact with a system in natural language, in multiple languages, and to have access to disparate data that's in varying systems, putting that all in one place really became a real home run for us. So we formed a group that set out to get the data and provide a user experience that would be easily adopted by our teams, which is where Microsoft Teams came in. So because everyone in our organization uses Microsoft Teams to collaborate, it just made sense to utilize that platform to deliver Tammy.
Thank you for sharing that. How did you end up selecting the development choices that you made?
We really just collaborated really closely with our Microsoft account team. They were very instrumental in demystifying this new technology, something that we all hadn't used before. Moreover, we invested a bunch of time alongside our technicians, gaining insight into their requirements. This ensured that we integrated the right tools and fulfilled their needs effectively.
Yeah, love hearing about our collaborative approach. Mind sharing the architecture that those choices led to? Is there a diagram we can bring up?
Sure.
So we have three main layers to Tammy, right? You have your chat application layer, which is the layer that users actually interact with. You have the application middleware, which is kind of some of the Azure resources where we're storing things in Azure, what the application is reaching out to come to its decisions. And then you have the ingestion subsystem. This is really just the workflow in which we use to get the data into cognitive search for the application to read. As you can see up top, we have three data sources, right? You have a network share, which is where we're pulling manuals from. We have our two on-prem, a SQL server, and then an Oracle database. That data is being pushed into Snowflake in forms of Parquet files, and then we're moving those Parquet files up to blob storage along with the manuals into blob storage. We're doing this using Azure Data Factory. Our team's very comfortable with it. It's been a great tool for us, so it was a no-brainer to use here. And then you have Azure Machine Learning, which is we're using that to really process some of the manual documents that we uploaded from that network share, right? Chunking them, using OCR to understand what's going on in them, creating embeddings off of those files, and then pumping that right back into the blob storage as JSON files. From there, you have
the application middleware, which is really, like I just said, it's we have blob storage, which is storing the pre-chunked manuals and CSInfo / IMRO data, and then you have cognitive search now, which is now AI search, but we also have that where we create our indexes. So then you have the chat application layer, right? So we have designed a API that all of our applications can reach out to. We did this with the sense that, we didn't want users just to have to go to either Teams or to a chat window, but we have a bunch of other applications that we want to implement some of these services into. So we created an API layer that has Cosmos DB as the backend or as the database for it. This layer basically hosts all of our Azure OpenAI connectivity, all of our cognitive search connectivity, and so forth for the client applications, Teams, web, SAP, whatever it may be, to utilize the AI services. From there, we have APIM, which is the client, not the client application, but the API layer will get to Azure OpenAI through the APIM. So we have a special key for our specific BU. Other BUs at Textron have their keys, and this is how we track usage, cost, and so forth throughout that.
How long did it take to get to a working solution?
We started off there's 3 phases. We had a POC, a MVP, and then we had the Teams integration. The initial phase spanned about 3 weeks. We established a stable foundation. After that, we had a select group of technicians and customer service engineers test the POC rigorously for about 2 months, right? Just so we can see, is it getting them the right answers? Are there any bugs we need to look at? After that, we went into developing the MVP, right? We had the POC, which was great, and everybody was enjoying the POC, but we realized in order for us to roll this out to the other service centers, we had to make it production ready, right? How do we make sure that this solution is scalable, right? And have we resolved all the issues identified during the POC phase? Then, after finishing the MVP, with a firm understanding at this point of kind of the under the hood technology from all the work we did with the POC and MVP, kind of integrating it into Teams was relatively straightforward. It required a few weeks, to fully comprehend the Teams toolkit because we hadn't worked with that much. But after we did that and kind of got our hands around that, it took another additional couple of weeks to finalize a stable version.
Thank you. Any advice for the audience looking to bring this value to their work streams?
Honestly, listen to your users, grasping what they truly need is the cornerstone of success. And then also just not taking at face value the question or the thing that they're saying, right? How can you peel the onion back a little bit and find out what they're really needing, In our first few conversations, we realized that we had to pivot a little bit because some of the stuff we thought they needed wasn't actually what they needed. So, we pivoted and tried to see what it was. And then always remember to keep an open mind. The pace of this technology is so fast, right? So you have to be flexible and be ready to reassess in real time.
Yeah. So what's next for Tammy?
So Tammy's just the beginning, right? And there's so much. What we've rolled out with Tammy so far is just the beginning. We have a significant amount of data that we're eager to integrate into Tammy, hoping to make it more accessible to our technicians, starting with our vendor manuals, detailed aircraft squawk information, and then regarding our AI journey in general, this is really just the beginning. I mean, we're looking to establish an AI platform that will provide support across all of the areas of our business, not just service. Tammy represents just the initial step in an ambitious journey.
In your opinion, how will custom copilots continue to shape this and other processes at Textron Aviation?
Yeah, so as you heard Meech said, this is really just the beginning. And so we considered Tammy the first co-pilot. So this just makes those other co-pilots easier to go get. So we are 100% looking at how these co-pilots can be stood up on our data to make doing the work, doing the jobs easier across all our functions, not just service. So again, just the first of many, and we're iterating through tons and tons of ideas and use cases right now as a business to help understand where the value may live. So the success story of Tammy has all of our leaders across our company talking about what these possibilities could be, and the excitement around it is just incredible.
Josh, Meech, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great having you. And to everyone else, thanks for watching our on-demand session. For deep dives on how to bring your own AI solution to teams, be sure to check out the sessions on the screen. Also, a shout out to the other session on the screen that talks about the business value that AI brings to industry solutions if you happen to be on site this week. Thanks everyone, see you soon!